All right, boys and girls, today's lesson is lesson 7-4, and we're going to compare unit fractions. Remember, unit fractions when the numerator is a 1, and the denominator could be anything, really. So, first I want to just quickly refresh the 7-3, talking about fractions more than 1. If we're representing on a number line, this is a whole, this is 1. Okay, and we separate it into fourths. Okay, that means we have 4 equal chunks. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 equal chunks. So that's 1/4, that's 2/4, 3/4, and this would be 4/4 or 1. Now, if I were to take this and extend on past the 1, maybe go up to 2. There's 2 ways to do this, but the way we're working on it in 3rd grade is you would have continue with it. You go 5/4, and 6/4, and 7/4, and here's 8/4, which 8 divided by 4 is 2. Okay, so because we're extending the whole, we're showing you in the fraction we have more than a whole, which it shows here because the number line stops at a 1, and we're going past it. So it shows that we have more than a whole. Okay, so that's how you would extend past the number line. Or past a hole in a number line. Alright, so today's focus is comparing fractions. And we're comparing unit fractions. So to me, this lesson's kind of easy because unit fractions is always just one piece of the whole. Okay? And so here the fraction bars are lined up. The whole is one whole strip. Okay? The first one's broken into 1 out of 1. That means the whole thing represents itself. The unit fraction is 1 out of 1, so the unit fraction is the entire piece. The second one is the denominator is a 2. So the unit fraction is 1 out of 2, which is 1/2. So that tells you that the whole is in 2 equal pieces. Then you have 1/3. 1/3, same thing. One piece of the 3 it's been broken into. As you continue going down, you have 1/4, 1/5, 1/6, 1/7, 1/8. It says describe 2 patterns that you see in the fraction bars. Well, the things I see are that as you go along, the bigger the denominator is, the smaller the unit fraction is. Notice the denominator is a 1 there, and the unit fraction is 1 out of 1. You go here, the denominator is a 4, so the unit fraction is 1 out of 4. And here the denominator is 8, so the unit fraction is 1 out of 8. So that's telling you that if you were to take a pizza, that's my best way of talking about unit fractions and the sizes. If you were to have a pizza and you were to cut a pizza into 4 pieces and you had 1, that would be more than if you had cut the same pizza into 8 pieces and you had 1. Because 1 piece of 8 is way smaller than 1 piece of 4. So that's one pattern, is that the larger the denominator, the smaller the unit fraction is. Another pattern would be the bigger the denominator, the more pieces there are. Okay, so here we have 8 in the denominator, and that means there's 8 pieces, 8 unit fractions. So the bigger the denominator, the more pieces there are, and the bigger the denominator, the smaller the unit fraction is. So knowing that if we're talking unit fractions, the bigger the denominator means the smaller the piece. So when we compare down here on 2, 3, and 4, would you want 1/3 of a pizza or 1/7 of a pizza? You would want 1/3 because they're unit fractions, so that means they each are 1 piece out of 3 or out of 7. So because it's out of 7, that means the pizza or the candy bar or whatever it is getting broken into 7 pieces and you only get 1, compared to the same candy bar being broken into 3 pieces and you get 1. Okay, next one, 1/3 or 1/2. Well, we've learned that the smaller the denominator, the bigger the unit fraction. Remember that's a difference here. We're talking about unit fractions today. So as we go along, it'll change. When the numerators change, the denominator makes a big difference. Number 4, you would want 1/6 because the denominator is smaller in 1/6 than it is in 1/7. So whatever it is getting broken up into 6 pieces rather than 7, and you want something that's broken up into less pieces because it'll be a bigger piece, a bigger unit fraction. All right, next page. Excuse me. It says the number lines show unit fractions. Look for patterns in the number lines. On the number line. Okay, one of the patterns you can see is that the smaller the denominator, the further it is along on the number line. Okay, so that means it's bigger. Okay. Another one would be the smaller the denominator, the closer it is to a whole. Okay, because you have 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, or the bigger the number, the further away it is from the whole. Those are two different things you could say. Next one, compare the same thing here. We're talking unit fractions. Try to do this without using the fraction bar on the page before, but if you need to, go ahead. But just know that when we're talking unit fractions, when the numerator is a 1 in each, it's really simple. All you do is pick the smaller of the denominator. See, 3 is smaller than 8, so that's a bigger piece. Okay, here, 2 is smaller than 4, bigger piece. 5 is smaller than 8, bigger piece. It's weird to think that smaller means bigger, but it does when it comes to fractions, especially unit fractions. Here, same thing. Do you want a half or an eighth? Absolutely you want a half. 1/4 or 1/7, 1/6 or 1/8. Alright, so this says use the fraction bar or the number line. Okay, it says between which two unit fractions would 1/5 be on the number line? Alright, let's see. I'm going to shrink this down. I'm going to pull the other page over. Okay, we're going to use this unit or fraction bars. It says between which two unit fractions would 1/5 be on the number line? Between which two? So let's find 1/5. 1/5 is right here. Okay, so between which two? So we know this would be just below it, and this would be just past it. You see that? Because here's small, here's 1/5, and here's bigger. Okay, so the answers would be, which two unit fractions would be on the number, between which two would be 1/6 and 1/4. Okay. Next one is thinking about making a fraction bar for tenths. How many unit fractions would be in the fraction bar? Okay, if you're making it for tenths, that means you're making it for tenths. Hopefully I gave it away there. It says how many unit fractions would be on the fraction bar? Or it'd be broken into 10. Okay? And then how do you write the unit fraction? Well, 1/10. Not 16th, 10th. Next thing, can you predict, or can the fraction bars for any unit fractions with even denominators always be split into two equal parts? With even denominators, can it always be split into two equal parts? Hopefully you know, yes, it can. Because any even denominator, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, can be split into 5, 3, 1, 2, 4. You can split all those in half to have another number. If you take 3 and split it in half, you get 1.5. You split 5 in half, you get 2.5. So those don't work. So every even number denominator can always be split into two equal parts. So if you have 1/4, two equal parts for 1/4 would be, so pause it so I don't know where I left off. So let's take 1/4 for example, okay? And I'm going to zoom this in, because if you look, and I did so much writing on this that it's going to be hard to tell, but if you look, here is 1/4, and if you split it equally down the middle, you get 1/8 and 1/8. You got it? It's kind of tough to show that. So any even number, which is 4th, yes, you can cut it in half to get 2, but it's actually doubled to make 8, because when you're making 2 of it, it's getting the denominator is getting bigger. Here's 1/2. Sorry, I'm trying to think of the easiest way. Here's 1/2, and if I go all the way down to the 4ths, notice there's 2/4 and a half. Okay? So 2 plus another 2 would be 4ths. Okay? Here's the 3rd. Well, no, we're doing even numbers only. 6. if you went up more, you could say a 6 would have 2 twelfths in it. 1 twelfth, 1 twelfth. Okay, we'll talk more about that in small group. But today I just wanted to get you mostly to understand unit fractions and be able to compare them.